we're gonna continue doing what we're doing in terms of working, these equipment that's coming, we're ordering them as we speak, and as soon as the arrival of them, they will be certainly displayed, and immediately upon the heavy equipment coming into the city, we will immediately, after the operators are trained, we will immediately go out and start that work, that important work, so that you can see the fruit of the labor, the things that you expect to see in terms of the cutting throughout our communities, the removing of the blight and other things like that. And so these things will happen immediately upon the equipment coming.
Is it gonna have to be, because you have to call in, be on the list, so you start working in that area?
No. We matter of fact, Mr. Billop in his Department of Public Works, there's a plan already in terms of what that looks like, which districts they're working in, and what days they're in certain districts. That exists already. Today is really, when we talk about the $4.1 million, really what we're saying to you that equipment that was necessary previously that we didn't have. Right now that we're ordering, now we're going to put employees on equipment that will perform the tasks that's necessary so that you can see the work and the work that you expect to see and deserve to see by doing this. This is what's getting ready to happen. So that's what we are so proud of. Anyone else?
I have a question. What about transportation coming into the city of Prichard to assist us?
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you
They
asked.
don't have transportation.
Sure.
Needed.
Sure, I'm glad you asked.
Something is really lacking.
I'm glad you asked, actually. Several projects for me as the mayor of the city and this administration. And public transportation is the one that's at the top of the list. You know that we lost our public transportation approximately, I think, 6 years ago. And it was urban transportation. And that's what I'm saying about today, about the $4.1 million, where someone else is determining whether or not we should have public transportation and to what degree that public transportation look like. No one else should have the ability to determine that other than this city, right, and its efforts. And as you know, 6 years ago when public transportation was terminated, we went downtown to the GMO building. There were protests and other things that happened. But there was no plan in terms of after the protests and all those things that has happened, what's next? There were no plan put into place. And it was expected that there would be a protest and it would probably last about the length of time that it did, which was about a couple of weeks. I say to you, we have to have a plan. And I've already put before council already, and over the last year, and in fact, over the last several months now, I've been working very diligently as it relates to public transportation to get public transportation back in this city.
Yeah.
Our folks need public transportation. It's no ifs, ands, buts about it. To be able to go to hospitals, to doctor's offices, to the store, and all these other places as well. And so I would ask you, right, to work with me as I work with council to work on a program and develop a program so that we can start dealing with those who we need to deal with for public transportation. I've been speaking to those in Atlanta, which is where our regional office is located, to try to work on this urban grant that's available. The urban grant, so that you'll know, was provided for all urban areas to include not only here in the city of Prichard, but and beyond. This city was not the only one cut out of it. But I would tell you this, that urban grant is still being used in Mobile. That should include all these other cities as well. And it's an urban grant. And the amount of money has not changed after you cut out other cities. And so I think what we need to do, and what I've been doing over the last year, is to just try to get with those in the power to be, get some understanding, some clarity to what it's going to take for us to establish our own public transportation, urban transportation as it relates to it. And so once again, I'm glad you asked that because it's very, very important. I would hope to have you and answer more definitively in the very near future. I have applications in there now for to put together the grant opportunity as it relates to public transportation. That I've been working on that as well, and I hope that it will come to fruition at some point. And as I speak to that, not only the public transportation, let me share one other thing with you. Prichard Water, that bears the name of the city of Prichard. We should no longer sit and allow much of the things that are happening when it comes to the costs that's been levied on our citizens with what I call tactical effort on their part to come up with ways to even further burden our citizens when it comes to the cost of water. You know, if on the very first day, if you have failed to pay your water bill on the very first day, there's no grace in it. On that very day, there's other fees that are tacked on. And then your water's turned off, and then there's additional fees tacked on. And so we're at a point now we should not continue to allow that to happen, but what I want to do is this, as the mayor said, I want to create bridges so that we can come together and have conversation that I think that will benefit our citizens. And one of the things that I've been asking, this is nothing new. The city have land that we own that we can actually place wells on that I think that would help in the reduction of the cost of water in this city. Right? I think we're paying Mobile some $4 million to supply the water to Prichard Water. But we have adequate amount of water right here in the city that we can eliminate that and bring that $4 million back into the city to use for infrastructure and those other kind of things like that, while at the same time allowing an opportunity for the cost of water to be reduced. And so, but we can't do that if we're not sitting at the table, engaged with each other in a conversation. I think not only from the perspective of Prichard Water, Prichard Housing, all those entities that's there, Alabama Power, Spire, and all the others who are here and operate us, we almost come to the table. Right? And so that we can develop or be a part of the development of the vision in which the city is to move forward. It's too important for us not to be engaged. And I know that when we speak about Prichard Water, I know that we're in some litigation as it relates to hydro. But the litigation as it relates to hydro should not impact what we can continue to do in our efforts in bringing our city together and making our city stronger. So today, I'm saying to you as citizens, I encourage you to call Prichard Water to assist in bridging us together and bringing us to the table to engage in real conversation about how we can fix much of the issues and problems that this city is faced with. Right? As Councilwoman said, we are stronger together than we ever going to be apart. And if we bear the name of this city, right, and you can say that you're a separate entity, but nothing is separate about us. We are all together. And we should be together. And that's how we fix things. But we have to fix things by sitting and engaging in conversation that would allow us to develop a plan and to execute that plan. But I want you to know this office is working in that direction. I'm asking Prichard Water to come to the table. I've done that already. I've asked for meetings with them. And unfortunately, that has not occurred. But I won't stop. I won't stop. I think we're at a point now that someone is going to realize eventually that the importance of it. Money is being spent for attorney fees and all these other kinds of stuff that where we're fighting each other legally, when we should be using that money to fix things around this city. So once again, I share with you, thank you all.
You have time for one more question. One more question.
Are we gonna get the night company back?
The light came, but you go there and pay your bills.
You mean Alabama Power, you're speaking. They closed several offices, and let me quickly speak to that so that we all can understand. I think it's important to understand what's happening across this entire nation, just not here, but across this nation. These companies, these large companies are actually reducing their bottom line as well, right? And so we have to understand this, that before long, we will probably see many of the places that you go to now, and you see a person. After a while, you're not going to see a person. You're going to walk in, and there's going to be a machine there, and you're going to submit whatever that payment is into a machine. You would not get a physical person standing there representing a company. And we're moving. I mean, the country is moving in that direction. So we got to get ready for it. Time has changed, and we got to get ready for it. And so, what I do want to share this with you. I've asked both Alabama Power, Inspire, and others, what I would like to see happen is that the opportunity that maybe we can set something up here in the city, that you don't necessarily have to go to a check cashing place, that you can come here, that they will set up something that you can come here and pay your bills. We open from 8 to 5, and that will give you that opportunity as well, an environment that you can feel safe in and coming and handling your business. And I will continue to work on that, and at least to work on the idea of what that looks like, and so that you guys can have the convenience of what you felt you had by going to a building that says Alabama Power or Spire. Okay? So continue to pray for us, continue to work with us, and let's stay fired up, and we're going to get the business of this city done. God bless you all. Thank you so much.